Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our regular BOCC meeting for August 23rd. For those that are here in the room, thanks for attending. Those that may be watching online or reviewing the tape later, thank you for your interest and participation as well. In a moment, we'll call the roll, but first I'd like to invite Father Stearns up to provide the invocation and lead us in the pledge. Welcome, Father.
Let us take a moment and recollect ourselves, recalling that always and everywhere we are in the presence of Almighty God. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the abundant blessings that you bestow upon us, most especially for the gift of your Son, through whom we have found our salvation. We give you thanks also for the gifts of life and liberty, and we ask your blessing and guidance as we come together for this Board of Commissioners meeting. Knowing that all authority stems from you, we ask for your guidance that the decisions made are just and equitable, that they are wise and done for the benefit of the people of Elbert County. We thank you for these men who serve. We thank you for this county. And as we move forward, we ask that you continue to bless Elbert County and the people within it. We ask all this through Christ our Lord. Amen. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. All righty, it's 9:02. Amanda, could you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Thayer. Here. Commissioner Richardson.
Here.
Commissioner Schroeder.
Here. All righty, we have a quorum. First item of business we have is to approve the agenda before us. I'd accept a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the agenda as presented. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. We have several items on consent. I would accept a motion to approve those items.
Mr. Chair, I move we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the items on consent. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Those items are approved. All right, moving on to elected officials, department head, and staff reports. Did you have anything, Rhonda? No. Okay, thank you. So with staff reports. All righty, thank you, Darren. I know this year.
I'm giving an update on the new Public Works facility that is in progress. So I've got some pictures, some slides to show you real quick. The facility is 85% complete at this time. So it is turning out to be a tremendous facility. They're doing a great job, and it's going to serve Elbert County tremendously for the next several decades. So it's great. So this is the proof roll yesterday that is being completed on the asphalt in front of the building. Proof roll came out extremely well, and they should start paving today on the facility. And this is where Fleet, oh, thank you. This is where Fleet, the maintenance shop is, and it's coming together. A lot of electricians, plumbers, everybody in the facility right now coming together and completing it. It's a tremendous building. As you walk in, now am I messing it up? This is the front entrance into the building. So walking into the front entrance. This is staff, where their offices and the general public, well, general public won't, not too often will be up there, but this is where their offices are for Road and Bridge. So this is all their offices, and Again, a picture of their individual offices, Public Works Director and Road and Bridge Foreman and everybody. And on this side is where the actual trucks will come in to get loaded with sand and everything, and part of it, again, is fleet. Just a picture showing of the mechanical systems. Bathrooms are tremendous, locker rooms, shower stalls, and this is another part of their mechanical systems that are being completed in the facility. This is the break room. Very nice break room for all the staff to be able to take a break and go in and relax. And then this is the back of the building. So the back of the building is, again, it's a tremendous facility. FCI has done a tremendous job, and so I think the county, Elbert County, is going to be very satisfied. And the staff is looking forward to the move.
Thank you, Darren. Any questions or comments?
Yeah, for the public, when do you think this thing will be completed?
It'll be completed before the first of the year. So we got a punch list coming up September 6th. So we will complete that punch list on the 6th of September and move forward. The architects and the engineers and everybody will be present at that time. So.
Thank you for, like I said, I know it was a long road to get here, so, and just
Yes,
the fact
sir.
that we'll be able to, you know, just kind of looking at those pictures and thinking about what we have right now. I mean, the covered storage versus the dirt lot we have and the maintenance bays compared to the structure we've got out back is just gonna add a whole lot in terms of both efficiency and truly safety for our guys. So,
Yes, definitely, yes, sir.
having a place to stay during snowstorms and not in the basement of this building or, you know, the floors of their offices is good too. So we'll definitely, I guess, before we get too active and we can't have a lot of folks in, we need to do a public open house once it's ready to bring people in so taxpayers know what they bought.
Yes. Yes, sir.
No, but I appreciate that. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. We have no other staff reports, but did want to take a moment. Mr. Morgan, I just wanted to recognize Rick Morgan. He's our Veteran Service Officer. He'll be in November to kind of provide our annual update around Veterans Day of the services provided, but just truly a tremendously engaged and you know, you are a treasure in this county. Thank you. All righty. Moving on to citizen public comment. Do we have anybody in the room that has public comment today? And if you could, just name and address for the record.
Morning, Commissioners. Don Gray, 16,000 Highway 86. I'm here to speak at Excel once again. It's my understanding that we're still in the pre-application process, and the county has requested more information from Excel. And I think as a direct result of that, we've had surveyors out all last week and again this week running on this primary route. I personally have fielded 20 people telling me that the surveyor's out. As of right now, they're behaving themselves. They're staying on the right-of-way. They haven't trespassed to any of my knowledge. So just give you an update on that. And thank you for sending it back to them and asking for a little bit more clarification on what they plan to do. Thanks again.
Hey, you're very welcome. Do we have anybody else? And it's my understanding we had nobody that wanted to be called and no emails sent. So.
No.
Okay, thank you. So with that, I would close public comment and just on the Excel matter, beyond what you had stated, I think the only decision that's been made at the county was their request as to whether this was a minor or a major 1041 project, and they have been assured it is a major. So, yeah, so we'll see what comes of that. Any other comments? Alrighty. All right. So moving on to discussion items. The first we have is, actually, Mark, if I could, I'm going to just go out of order. We got a couple of proclamations, and rather than, get folks on to other business if they have it. So actually, I'd like to invite up Shane for a proclamation regarding the 2023 National Preparedness Month. Come on up, Shane. And if you have anything you want to share on our recovery efforts, I'd take that too.
Thanks, Commissioners. Morning, Commissioners, County Leadership, community members. Shane Pines, Director of the Office of Emergency Management. Disasters of this year, both locally and abroad, serve us.
Shane, could you pull the
You want
mic
me
a
to do
little
this?
closer?
Yeah. The disasters of this year, both locally and abroad, serve as a reminder to us all the importance of preparedness within our homes, our neighborhoods, businesses, government, and the whole community. As we continue to advance our preparedness efforts, both locally and across the country, we collectively continue to learn about our various vulnerabilities and the benefits of coming together to support one another and be better equipped for future emergencies and disasters. With that, I'll read the proclamation the Commissioners have reviewed in recognition of the National Preparedness Month, September 2023. Whereas September is recognized as National Preparedness Awareness Month, was established in 2004 by the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, to encourage everyone to prepare for all emergencies, and whereas this year's theme is helping older adults prepare for disaster. According to FEMA Administrator Deanne Criswell, we know older adults can face greater risks when it comes to the multitude of extreme weather events and emergencies we now face, especially if they are living alone, are low income, have a disability, or live in rural areas. And whereas on June 11th, 2023, Elbert County declared a disaster due to widespread severe damage and loss of property from severe weather and prolonged precipitation. The county remains in recovery from the weather events. In addition, there continues to be the threat of severe weather with the current waves of monsoon moisture. And whereas Elbert County has experience with and susceptibility to various severe weather and natural disasters such as floods, blizzards, tornadoes, and fires, compounded by the continued risk of pandemics, as well as potential for man-made threats, demonstrates the ongoing need for Elbert County to prepare for a broad range of emergencies. And whereas the Elbert County Office of Emergency Management, the Elbert County Sheriff's Office, the Elbert County Fire Districts, the Department of Human Services, Public Works, and the Department of Public Health have a responsibility to protect safety, minimize the loss of life and property, and protect public health by preparing for, responding to, and recovering from disasters or emergencies. And whereas the Elbert County Office of Emergency Management and other public safety partners are promoting preparedness in the month of September to highlight the importance of personal, family, and community preparedness to build resilience, help reduce casualties, and minimize the economic impact in our communities and in our state. And whereas emergency preparedness is the responsibility of every resident of Elbert County, families and individuals are urged to make preparedness a priority by following 4 simple steps: to make a plan, to build a kit, be informed, and get involved. Review resources at the World Wide Web's ready.gov. And whereas the elderly comprise one of the most vulnerable populations, especially those who live alone, we encourage them to make a list of people who can help them during an emergency, ensure medical information is available to those who may need to help during an emergency, and prepare an emergency kit to support them for 30 days of essential needs. Therefore, it be proclaimed by the Elbert County Board of County Commissioners that do hereby officially recognize and designate the month of September 2023 as National Preparedness Month in Elbert County. With that, Commissioners, I have the formal declaration for you.
Yeah, if you could, thank you. No, and I appreciate that, and I'm glad they focus there. I mean, it may not seem it, but I think our population in Elbert County is about 10 years older than the average across Colorado, and it's got a lot to do with, just who we are and who comes and who stays, and the fact that many of our kids do leave once they grow up. So I think focusing on supporting the older folks in the county, I think, is really appropriate, and I'm glad I think that's a national level theme this year. Yeah, that's good. So without objection, I think we'll go ahead and sign this. I'm not seeing any, so.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you. And we'll get that to the PIO to get distributed and highlighted throughout the county over the next month. Thank you. And then the next we had also in September is Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. Dwayne, if you could. And I know this hit us hard a few years back as we were in the, I guess, throes of COVID. There was a point where we had more deaths to suicide in the county than we had to COVID, and our numbers during that year were at least twice, maybe 3 times. I forget now what our average was. So I know it's something that has impacted the county greatly, but if
Thank you, Commissioner. Suicide Prevention Awareness Month, this proclamation dovetails nicely with Shane's office and that proclamation that he just read. I just happened to be speaking with the county coroner last week, and she shared that there were 8 deaths by suicide year to date, which is higher than typical. That's after a lull. I believe there was 5 last year and 7 the year before, or vice versa. We did peak in 2020 at 12, if my memory serves. That was a significant spike from the previous perhaps 7 or 8 year average of about 4 deaths by suicide. And this is also timely because we, with your signature on a contract, I believe this morning or very recently, we're going to begin a deeper dive in the behavioral health component that was identified in last year's community health assessment. And I had hoped to connect with Rick Morgan before he left the room, but to give citizens and folks a heads up, this fall we'll be looking at doing some community surveys. Hopefully 3 surveys is the plan right now. One will be a community-wide survey of adults. Another will be a survey of middle school and high school students. And the third will be a survey specific to veterans on their perceptions, needs, everything under the umbrella of behavioral health. And the findings will help inform public health's approach moving forward. In a perfect situation, we're able to identify funding and recruit a behavioral health provider to perhaps offer behavioral health services on a limited basis. At least that's my hope and goal in the year or 2 to come. As I'm sure everyone is aware, there remains a significant shortage of behavioral health providers. So with that, I'll read the proclamation. And I want to recognize Cynthia T. for preparing this and putting this on the agenda. Recognition of the annual Suicide Prevention Awareness Month, September 2023. whereas September is recognized as Suicide Prevention Awareness Month, a time when millions of people around the world join their voices to raise awareness of suicide prevention, treatment, and recovery. And whereas September 10 is World Suicide Prevention Day, which has been recognized internationally and supported by many governments and private organizations. Whereas Elbert County families have been severely impacted by suicide, and those losses have had a profound effect on our communities. And whereas this is a time that is dedicated to bringing visibility to the role everyone in the community can play in preventing suicide, encouraging all community members to know the signs, find the words, and reach out to someone they are concerned about. And whereas education about the warning signs of suicide, the value of preventative measures, and the best methods to support those in need is essential to our community. And whereas hashtag #BeTheOne2 is the 988 mental health crisis hotline, suicide and crisis lifelines message for National Suicide Prevention Month and beyond, which helps spread the word about actions we can all take to prevent suicide. And whereas the stigma associated with mental health and suicidality continues to work against suicide prevention efforts by discouraging Elbert County citizens at risk for suicide from seeking life-saving assistance, and further traumatizes survivors of suicide. And whereas the Elbert County Board of Health affirms its commitment to end the tragedy of suicide among veterans and their families by promoting awareness and use of the veteran self-help resources designed to prevent suicide among the military community. And whereas the Elbert County Board of Health encourages the collaborative efforts of community partners in development and implementation of evidence-based suicide prevention, intervention, and postvention strategies, and therefore be it proclaimed by the Elbert County Board of County Commissioners and Elbert County Board of Health that we do hereby officially recognize and designate the month of September 2023 as Suicide Prevention Awareness Month in Elbert County. I'll hand this over to you and be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. And again, without objection, I think we should sign and publish this. Okay.
And while y'all are signing that, if I can give a plug for a healthcare resource for our seniors. Our family nurse practitioner is able to make home visits to seniors approximately age 16 above if they have transportation issues, if they have accessibility issues and can't make it to a primary care provider. Please call our department and ask to speak with our nurse, and we'll do an assessment and see what we can do to help make sure that our seniors have primary care and sick care resource. Thanks.
Oh, thank you. And I think October we have our next Board of Health meeting. If you could get with Sandy and just, I guess, going back to the high year of 12 or 13 suicides, if we could just get the basic demographic breakdown, are they youth, are they elderly, just if we know, or if you know, that'd be.
There have been no youth deaths by suicide, and I base that on the knowledge that we have to review all child fatalities regardless of mechanism of fatality, and we have not been notified in my tenure here of any deaths by suicide. So I am under the belief that they're all over age 18, and without 100% confidence, I would say are probably midlife adults and older.
All righty, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
All righty. I appreciate that and all you and your team are doing. And I guess so next up might be a little lengthier discussion, which is why I'd moved it, but I would like to invite Margaret and Ryder up to just kind of discuss the plans and regulations we have that guide development. At Town Hall month or so ago, yeah, but a little over a month ago, there was concerns expressed by the public on the adequacy of regulations and whether they were current enough to support guiding the current proposals we have for growth in the county. So with that, Mark, turn it over to you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Good morning, commissioners, other elected officials, staff, fellow citizens. I'm Mark Denreader, Director of Community and Economic Development for Elbert County Government. At the last BOCC meeting, as part of the staff updates, I indicated that I'd come back and talk to you about some topics related to land use, our guiding documents, some demographic projections that will capture some of the elements that you just mentioned, Commissioner Richardson. So here we are, and I'll get right into it. First, I'll briefly cover our county authorities regarding land use. First, we have zoning and subdivision regulations for unincorporated Elbert County. Actually, Article 28, Title 30 of Colorado Revised Statutes, CRSs, authorizes counties to have zoning and subdivision regulations. Our most current package of land use regs was in Elbert County, was adopted in 2019. There have been some minor updates, amendments since that time. Article 17 of our zoning regulations points directly to 1041 regs, and these regulations are areas of activities of state interest. For example, public utility facilities, water, wastewater, wind, solar. 1041s were adopted in Elbert County in 1995. They were revised in the early to mid-2000s. And then the last update on the 1041s was last year in 2022. State law actually authorizes a county planning commission to enact a zoning plan for unincorporated lands in a county. And then these recommendations are considered and approved by the Board of County Commissioners. So for our zoning and subdivision regulations, we are going to be doing some minor updates before year end. And then next year in 2024, we'll have more of a comprehensive update on our regulations. Next, I'm going to touch on county guiding documents. The biggest one, the overarching piece of those guiding documents is our comprehensive plan. As you know, this is also referred to as a master plan, and this is a planning document that guides growth and long-term development in the unincorporated areas of a county. The incorporated towns, they also have plans, but those are their own, as they are an autonomous governmental body. The comp plan, it's noteworthy, is an advisory document, and it's not regulatory. It does help guide future policy, though, and it is not a requirement to have a comp plan unless you have a population of over 100,000 citizens. The original Elbert County Master Plan, that was created in 1996, and it was updated in 2018. Comprehensive plans, again, they're intended to guide development through an evaluation of topics like housing, transportation, open space, recreation, tourism, infrastructure, public facilities, along with socioeconomic development, and then also getting input from county residents. For the 2018 comp plan update, the county commissioners were involved, planning commission, county planning department, there was a citizen task force, stakeholder focus groups, consultants, and other interested citizens. They were all brought together for that comprehensive plan update in 2018. There were also 2 public meetings and 1 informational open house that was held. And then it was finally adopted by the Planning Commission. I'd like to read you the vision statement in the comp plan. It's fun, I think, to remind ourselves of this. Really, this is what was deemed most important by the local citizens and officials as it relates to the tone for future development. Elbert County, being rich in heritage, has a vision where property rights are respected and agriculture, commerce, industry, and residential growth are encouraged, thereby creating a path to economic prosperity. In the comprehensive plan, many technical plans were suggested. One was a housing master plan. The housing section was added to the Elbert County Master Plan back in 2009. Just last year, we completed a housing needs assessment, an HNA. This analyzed existing housing inventory, looking at gaps in housing and forecasting housing for the next 10 years, encouraging new residential development to provide a diverse range of housing options. Plans like this, this one cost $60,000 to complete. We did receive a grant from the Colorado Department of Local Affairs, DOLA, and the Colorado Housing and Finance Authority, CHAFA, to the tune of $40,000 to help with that. We hired a contractor to assist us with that housing needs assessment. The contractor toured Elbert County, met with county and town staff, conducted interviews with local realtors, planners, developers, and presented to the Economic Development Council and the Planning Commission. It took about 5 months to complete that particular plan, so this just kind of gives you an idea of cost, length of time for these type of plans, and this is just an example of a housing needs assessment. This is actually the first step on the housing topic, or the next step, I should say. Housing master plan is recommended in the comprehensive plan, and we're looking ahead to 2025 for that, just a tentative date. Another plan in the comp plan was the transportation master plan. This was completed just a couple of years ago in 2021. The last transportation plan before that one was the West Elbert County Transportation Master Plan from 2008. It's focused really only on the western part of the county due to the growth in that area. The 2021 Transportation Master Plan created a transportation vision really for the entire county, and it identified potential roadway improvement projects. Another plan highlighted in the comprehensive plan, Parks, Trails, and Open Space Plan. Back in 1999, there was actually an Elbert County Open Lands, Parks, and Trails Plan. There was an advisory committee that was put together. They did an inventory of county resources in this area related to open lands. The goal was to protect open lands, agricultural lands, and then creating park and outdoor recreation areas. Fast forward to 2016, an open lands study that was conducted. This was supported by Elbert County and the Douglas Land Conservancy. This was right around that time of that 2018 comp plan update. This plan looked at, or the study rather, looked at what lands have intrinsic value for the natural landscape and rural character. Where are they and how do we protect them? So now, present day, we are looking at a Parks, Trails, and Open Space Plan. I've talked about it before. This was also suggested in the comprehensive plan. We were planning to do one this year. We did seek grant funding for this through Great Outdoors Colorado, GOCO, and also through the Office of Economic Development and International Trade, OEDIT, and we were not awarded funding for this. So we decided to hold off on this plan based on that lack of grant support for this go around, and then also wanted to focus more energy and resources on the Water Master Plan. That segues right into the Water Master Plan, another plan that's highlighted in the comprehensive plan. The 2018 Rural Water Supply Study was the last water type study that was conducted in the county. This study was developed for Elbert County to examine the reliability of current and future water supplies and the varying projected growth scenarios. This type of update as it relates to water is recommended to happen every 5 to 10 years or so. This plan suggested supporting more central water systems and creating a policy on water in the regulations. Out of that, the county's 300-year water rule for new development was incorporated into policy, as you know. The USGS groundwater monitoring study, that's another water-related activity. In 2015, the U.S. Geological Survey and Elbert County began to study the groundwater levels in Elbert County, so just analyzing the trends and the changes in groundwater level elevations. 42 wells were monitored or have been monitored really measuring a rise or decline in groundwater elevations. It's expected, based on the notes in the studies, the more recent updates we've received, that USGS will prepare a trend analysis from the data collected from 2015 through 2023, and then publish the findings in 2024. Now, going back to the Water Master Plan, this is a plan that we're working on right now. We hired a consultant, got the contract signed. The plan really more or less just got underway. There's a kickoff meeting for that next week scheduled. I don't have the exact date yet, but we're ironing that out, so we'll keep you commissioners apprised of that. This particular plan has a $95,000 cost. We did receive a grant, $45,000 from the Colorado Water Conservation Board, the CWCB. This plan at the 300-year water rule and the long-term supply and conservation possibilities, opportunities in Elbert County. It will take around 6 months to complete. Other recommendations in the comp plan asked us to focus on things related to economic development, create an economic development authority. We actually resurrected an older economic development council from the early 2000s, got that up and running again in 2021. A related economic development topic connected to our regulations has to do with the economic development zones. You're familiar with that, the EDZs. That was approved in 2018 by you, the Board of County Commissioners. And the EDZ, this actually creates an environment where landowners, they don't need to rezone if they want to change from ag to commercial along identified major traffic corridors in Elbert County. A site plan is required with BOCC approval on that. We did an economic development strategic plan last year. This cost $92,000. We had lots of public engagement, surveys, individual interviews. We had group and youth focus groups for that, steering committees. Recommendations on that particular plan focused on strengthening our rural identity and facilitating commercial development naturally and supporting and recruiting businesses. This took about 5 months to complete that project. The comp plan, let's talk about that now. What's next for that? We will be revisiting the comp plan in 2024 with a update, and that will be an exciting opportunity to engage the public once again. I think it's important to update those comprehensive plans. It's recommended. It's that there's another 5 to 10 year period, so we'll be right at that 5 to 6 year time frame. So that's good. I'd like to now talk about some demographic projections. These are all from the Colorado State Demographer's Office. Pardon me, I'm going to plug the computer in. There we go. The first slide, population estimates. This was from 85 to 2021. You can see in the graphic there that the 1990s, there was a rise in population, a boom, if you will, and then the 2000s, a bit of a slowdown, and then the 20-teens, there was some steady growth. Now going to population projections, 2010 all the way to 2050. Roughly about 10,000 population increase is projected in Elbert County through that 2050 timeframe. There's some steady growth you can see there in 2040, and then after that it gets a little more unpredictable. And obviously, with looking out that far, we can't be certain, but perhaps an aging population may be the driving factor in that flat growth. Next, births, deaths, and net migration. Elbert County is growing, but with an imported population, people coming from elsewhere. It's interesting to note that the births and deaths are at a meeting point. It's just 1 year, but as the population ages, only inward migration will drive significant growth. This is net migration by age. You can see here, we have an inherent challenge like some other rural communities. The younger folks tend to leave the county. They leave for school, work, other opportunities in other environments. When we look at the especially the youth, it's one of those things as it relates to housing, we like to look at, okay, well, if we want to bring the youth back, is there housing for them? Can they afford it? That type of thing. Population by age group here is the next slide. You can see, that 25 to 44-year-old range. That's the largest group at this juncture. But if you look ahead for the next 10 years, that projected population change, it shifts to the 75 to 84-year-old age bracket. We do have an aging population, and it definitely illustrates the fact that an aging population does overwhelm the younger groups on a percentage basis. Looking at occupied housing units, really Elbert County is normal for the number of homes that are occupied versus that total. There aren't a lot of vacation or second homes here in Elbert County. When you look at the Colorado-wide average, it's 89.4% for occupied, and then in Elbert County, it's 96%. It also shows here there's a steady climb in the number of housing units. Jobs by sector, another demographic to consider. This is something that hasn't changed that much in recent times here in Elbert County, heavy on construction and agriculture and then local government. Elbert County is actually higher than most counties as a percentage in agriculture when you look at other locations in Colorado. Population densities here as it compares to neighboring counties. You can see if you go, in that northwest corner of Elbert County and then head west or north or northwest, those areas have definitely have more heavier population densities. We all know that. And then if you look at the county growth, just from that 1990 to 2020 timeframe, Douglas County was actually the leader in growth trends from 1990, 2000s, and even into 2010s. Elbert County grew as well, but not as much. But when you do look at the growth projections from now until 2050, we are projected to be one of the faster growing counties in the state on a percent of population. So that wraps up my presentation today for you gentlemen, and I'm certainly here to entertain questions, or if you have any comments, that would be great. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. Do you have any questions or comments?
Mark, I appreciate it. That's a lot of information and good information for us. Specifically in regard to the USGS groundwater study, I know periodically they present their findings to us. Do you know when the next time will be that we get an update on those?
Commissioner Schroeder, I do not know when that next update is coming, but after preparing for this presentation today, it has prompted me to inquire. So,
okay. Well, sorry to catch you off guard. I'm just curious. I'm optimistic that one of the benefits of all our rain is that we will see an increase in those wells. So I'm anticipating looking at that data when it comes in. And so I assume that the water master plan then will use a lot of that data from the USGS study as well.
Yes, sir. With any of these plans, as you're aware, we'll draw from previous studies. That's usually one of those first steps with a contractor is to go back. So it'll be the 2018 Rural Water Supply Study and of course, the USGS well monitoring program.
Terrific. So I appreciate the presentation. I think you look at our different documents here, they're adequate for what we're doing. At the same time, they're put together by humans. So there's always opportunity for encouragement. I'm glad to hear that we're looking at making minor adjustments there. But I would encourage anybody, whether it's staff or the citizens, if they see an opportunity for an adjustment that needs to be made, that they bring it to our attention, because it really is for the benefit of the entire county. And, a study that's only, or a plan that's only 3 or 4 or 5 years old is definitely adequate, particularly when you look at the costs and the time that goes into putting those plans together. So I appreciate the presentation.
Agreed. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, just a comment. I spent a long time on the Planning Commission, and when some of those things that you talked about were passed, one of the things that is consistent with these updated documents is quite often we need to make some minor changes in our regulations. And do you see that evolving here in the next little while, that maybe we need to update some things?
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner. As you stated, that's always part of that process, to be sure. I know we actually, not even doing any of these plans, we have a list of actually possible regulation updates, and it's growing. We always seek and strive to ensure that we have consistency within our regulations, and let's just say we can do better always, and part of these updates that will help in that regard. Now going back to the plans, especially looking at the Water Master Plan, Transportation Plan, those are critical plans to look at those, see what we can draw from, and if needed to make adjustments with policy. And of course, we would bring those forward to you for as suggestions along with the Planning Commission.
No, I appreciate the information, because I know as you're building your team down there, there's a lot of new eyes coming in to look through the regulations, new planners interpreting, and so I obviously we're going to find things that do need to be adjusted, but in that, I guess, growing list of things that you do want to address, is there anything that you see as like an immediate life, health, safety issue? If so, those are the ones that we would certainly want to have brought up immediately and brought forward to change, if they're process related or deconfliction or clarification. Obviously we can work through those, and I mean I know you talked a bit about the comprehensive plan. I mean, published in 2018. I was on the Planning Commission in 2015 when that effort began. So I think, I know we're never going to get 27,000 people to agree on exactly what's right in the county, but I think the effort on these plans with the large stakeholder groups and bringing together as many voices as we can is tremendously important, both in certainly getting the input to make sure the plans are good, but also highlighting to the public that this is going on. I mean, your directorate is, I guess, it's the epitome of the duck cruising, sedately on the surface and paddling mightily underneath. So I thank you and everybody that's involved in this. But yeah, I just obviously we'll be talking the water plan as that moves forward. But why don't you just kind of plan quarterly to kind of just give us an update, maybe chart-wise, of where we think we are. I'm disappointed in the fact that we didn't get the grant for the open space planning. Do you know why that was? Just limited money and we didn't make the cut, or was there something that we needed to have better prepped on our end?
More of the former,
Okay.
for sure. Yeah, limited funds and resources and lots of applications is usually the standard tune with these. But, you know, through this process, we do establish contacts and connections with these agencies and those representatives that, you know, that directly tie us to these funding options or opportunities. So it helps. It's building relationships as part of it too.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. That's, and the work that was done to get the water grant funding was wonderful. I mean, we kind of have this process where you go from ideas to studies to plans and eventually to projects. And I know when Grant and I took office on the rural water study, the concern was, and I think there's quite a bit of concern still throughout the public, that, you know, maybe someday you'll turn on the tap and nothing will be there. So really the focus for that was, how much water do we have? Are we 50 years behind planning a water project, or are we okay for now? And I think what came out of that was, it was okay for now. We still needed to look at our conservation efforts and what we do going forward, and that's, I think, be getting this water plan, which I think is the appropriate next step. And it's interesting to see what technology is bringing us. I know the Sterling Crossing project, I was reading the other day, they've got a phase, their future phase going out. They're planning a usage rate of 0.17 acre feet per year per house, which I think when we got here, our planning factor was 0.4. So just in that 5 years or so, and I'm sure that factor was old, but there's tremendous strides in using water wisely. And I think during this water study, reaching out to folks like them to say, what are you doing? What are your design techniques? What is getting you down to 0.17? You know, that, and can you go further? You know, I think will be good. So I just truly appreciate the information today, and kind of the look forward at what we're doing to continue to work on the updates, and to you and your team, thank you. Thanks.
Thank you very much. If I may add, just, you know, when revisiting the comprehensive plan, it's always good, as I'm sure you do as well from time to time. It's interesting to note that that we have been doing, you know, some updates and really looking at many of the areas in that plan in terms of recommendations and taking action on them. Of course, there are areas that we still can look at, and we are, but it was a healthy review again. And just to your point on life, health, safety, obviously as it pertains to regulations, and of course, as always, we'll you know, move those forward immediately if needed. The quarterly update, as you suggested, we can certainly do that. And I'd also like to thank on the grants and getting grant funding. And one of my colleagues in our department, Eric Larson, in economic development, has really helped us considerably with that as well. So thanks to Eric, and thank you, gentlemen, for your time. And I hope everyone has a great day in Elbert County today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Okay, so moving on to action items. Actually, we just have a collection of minutes, so not a lot of big things today, but the first is consideration of our July 26, 2023 minutes.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the July 26, 2023 minutes as written and dispense with the reading of those minutes.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the July 26, 2023 minutes as presented and dispense with the reading. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. The next is consideration of the August 5th, 2023 Board of Equalization minutes.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve the August 5th, 2023 Board of Equalization minutes as presented and dispense with the reading.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the August 5th, 2023 BOE minutes and dispense with the reading. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. And finally, consideration of the August 9th, 2023 minutes.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the August 9th, 2023 minutes as written and dispense with the reading of those minutes.
Second.
Okay, a motion and a second to approve the August 9th BOCC minutes with, as presented, and dispense with the reading. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Okay. Moving on to board planning. I think we've got a bit of a break, about a 3-week break before our next meeting, but in speaking with finance, we should have our audit presentation at that meeting for closeout 2022. So be good to get that behind us because I know we're thick in working on budget for 24. Do you have anything? Okay.
On the 13th, I will have possibly 3 public hearings, but right now for sure 2 public hearings for liquor. One is for a special event permit for Back the Badge for the Sheriff's Office Foundation, and one is for the patch in Elizabeth.
Okay, thank you. And then way ahead, but just having Mr. Morgan here today to make sure that we've got him scheduled for his kind of annual Veterans Day recap of the work he's doing for our retirees. Anything else? No? Well, that gets us started. That's all we have for the morning session. We do have a minor subdivision to hear during land use at 1 and a variance request that was submitted by CORE. We'll be hearing those at this location at 1 p.m. So it's 9:57 and we're in recess. Thanks for coming out today, guys.